Hello everyone, it's Friday and welcome to Practice Makes Prose. So it's week number 1 of our month dedicated to characters, and this week we are talking about creating characters. So in her video yesterday, Allie talked a lot about different ways to go about creating characters. So to kind of go back to that, I'm going to talk about the things that it's very important to make sure you have when you are creating a character. So I have my list and we are going to try to get through this as quickly as possible. Now, the very first thing is character background. You always want to make sure you know your character's background right off the bat, or as much about it as you possibly can, because their background is going to determine pretty much everything else about them. Next, it's their personality traits. You really want to know as much about their personality traits as possible from the beginning. Now, as you go about writing your story, you're going to learn more about the characters and you're going to come across more personality traits, but you do need to know basic things about them because their personality is going to determine how that past influenced them and made them who they are, and it's going to determine a lot of different things about them. So the next thing that you need to know is their faults, and you also need to know their talents slash good things. Now, you need to make sure you do both of these, and pretty much for each fault you give them, you need to give them a talent or a good thing, because you need to make sure they're well balanced. If you have a character that is full of faults but no good things, they're not going to be believable. They're not going to seem like a person. And every person has things that they're good at and things that they're not so good at. So do definitely make sure you balance those out and don't let your character become too heavy or too one-sided either way. Because a character that is extremely talented with no flaws, they're not believable either. Also, though, when you are giving them faults and talents, make sure they don't contradict each other. That's something that it's very easy to have happen. But if they're not good at something, don't turn around and give them something that they're good at that completely goes against it. The next thing that you need to make sure you have for your character is quirks and just little habits that they have. These tend to be very physical, but it could also be in the way they speak. Maybe there's one word they repeat all the time. There's a certain way they hold their hands, certain way they hold their head, certain things that they wear, little ways that they react that sets them apart from everyone else. So as well as with the faults and the good things, you also need to give them a lot of or a few quirks, but don't go overboard. Don't give one character a billion little quirks for them, and then have other characters where there aren't any quirks. A character is going to have a few quirks, but they're not going to have every single quirk in the book. So make sure you don't go overboard with that. The next thing you need to definitely make sure you know about your character is their hobbies. Everyone has a hobby. Even if the character doesn't know that's their hobby, there's something that they really like to do. And maybe your story is about them trying to figure that out. But definitely make sure that they have something, or that they are trying to find something. So that's my top list of things that you definitely have to make sure you have when you're creating a character. Of course, you need a name for them and you need a physical description, but these are really the big things that make them the character, and the name and the physical description may change, or maybe it will be influenced by these main details. So when you're creating a character, definitely make sure you have this list of stuff. And do you have other things that you feel like you have to make sure you have for a character when you first begin creating them? If so, let me know down in the comments, and don't forget to check out Joe's video on Monday when she talks about creating characters, and then Allie will be back on Wednesday with our new weekly topic. That's all from me today, and don't forget, practice makes pros.